Hello, it's been a while since I've done a video game review, and today I'm finally doing one, and I'm reviewing Tales of Symphonia. This game was originally released on the GameCube. It was also ported over to the PS2 in Japan. For fans of RPGs, the Tales is a household franchise. It isn't as known as Final Fantasy, but for fans of RPGs, they'll be sure to know about this game. The game also has a sequel, which is Tales of Symphonia: Dawn of a New World, and I will eventually review that game. There's also an anime adaptation of the game, which I haven't seen. Tales of Symphonia is probably the biggest and the most popular Tales game outside of Japan. For many Tales fans, this was their first of the franchise and their favorite. This was actually my first Tales game that I've ever played. The game is quite long. It is so long, it is a 2-disc game, and on the box it says over 80 hours of gameplay. My first run through took me 70 hours, and my second playthrough took me 45 hours. So let's talk about the story. It's huge. You play as Lloyd Irving, so the world of Silverant doesn't have enough mana and is suffering. There are also the Designs who terrorize people. Colette must go on a journey as the chosen one and regenerate the world. Lloyd, the main protagonist, is one of Colette's childhood friends and will accompany her through the world regeneration. This part takes about 20 hours of the game, and the plot eventually changes and takes a new direction. I will not tell you what happens, because I don't want to spoil it for you. But you should know that there are many plot twists, and the game does go really into depth with the story. The main themes are racism and trust, and the game shows these themes pretty well. The game goes deep into the trust factor because some of the characters betray Lloyd. The only thing with racism is that half-elves aren't treated fairly. These themes are used in the plot to advance the story. The characters are very likable. You only use Lloyd, but if you want, you can actually play as another character during the fights. And also, you can also play 2-player, and during the fights, you can control another character. So you can have two controllers during the fights. Personally, I prefer Lloyd, because I prefer melee attacks, but whatever. If Lloyd isn't your thing, you can change characters. But Lloyd will still be the main character. It's just in the fights you can use a different character. So you have Lloyd, Colette, Genus, Rain, Kratos, Zelos, Sheena, Presea, and Regal. You get to know everything about these characters. The development is great. You learn about the characters' past through the story, and their pasts are actually relevant to the story. You know how sometimes they'll say, this is the character's past, and we're just throwing that in there just so we can have a well-developed character? Well, in this case, in Tales of Symphonia, the past is actually used to move to progress with the story, and it's really done well. And every time the story moves, you learn something about a character, and it's very interesting, and you just want to keep playing because the story is so well done. Let's talk about the gameplay. The battle system is great. I love it. Most RPG battle systems are turn-based, but this one is a real-time. Personally, I prefer real-time just because I find it takes more skill to win a battle, whereas turn-based, you rely more on luck. And also, for turn-based, you might need to be a certain level to be a boss, but then with real-time, you can beat your boss with your skills, so you can be like any level you want to be, and it might be easier for you to beat the boss. Another cool thing is that you have this bar, and it's for Unisian's attacks, and once it fills up, you can use a Unisian attack. And you do this to create combos, which you can't create during normal battle. The battle system works well, and the backgrounds are in 3D, but the battle is sort of in 2D, and you can only run in one line, whether it be straight, horizontal, or diagonal. But it works well. The battles are fast and exciting. You can pretty much button mash your way through. But unless if you want to fight the bosses, you need to actually try, but the other monsters, they're easy to beat. In the overworld and the temple, you see the monsters and you can run into them. Sometimes they will run into you if they're stronger, but at least there are no random encounters. The monster designs are sort of cool at first, but they are reused very often, but they're just, let's say, a different color. So for example, there's this fire type monster, and then there's the exact same monster, but it's a water type of that monster. But they start off pretty cool, but then they're reused, so they're not as cool as when you first saw them. The music is pretty good. The visuals are pretty good for its time. The characters look sort of big around its environments, and the characters are well proportioned on the battle screen. The towns are very well done. They look very nice. The dungeons are fun, and they're pretty much different, and they're very nice as well. Every dungeon is played out differently because of the sorcerer ring. It's actually originally a ring that shoots out fire, but its abilities varies depending on the dungeon, which offers many possibilities. The skits are cool. Most of the time you learn something new about the character or where to go. These skits are actually useful. Sadly, there is no voice acting. The voice acting is great. You get to see voice acting during the cutscenes, and the cutscenes are not the greatest. The characters have no emotion on their face, and they do the same action over and over. But that didn't really stop me from enjoying the game. Another cool thing is grade. This is great for replay value. When you create a second file, you can use your grade to transfer money and items that you worked so hard on. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that eventually you get rayhards. These are these flying contraptions that let you fly through the overworld faster. Thank God you get these, because the overworld is so big. It takes a while before you get them, but you don't need them as much in the beginning of the game because the distances you travel aren't as big. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that during the fights, sometimes there will be a bit of a lag or a slowdown. It's not like a bad, but the frame rate per second will diminish. But that didn't stop me from having fun. This is still a great title and should be played by GameCube owners and RPG fans. So check it out, cause I give it a 9 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this review. So please subscribe or comment. Thank you.